Noel Monaghan and the Snow Woman. Now, Patrick Deely, you will have heard there Noel dealing with issues effectively in a small rural community, and you do the same in your collection. Now, you've left County Galway, you're teaching in Ballyfermot in Dublin, but your poetry returns to the roots, and you are examining what I suppose could be called the soft underbelly of rural life, aren't you?
I am, Mike, but I don't like to think of it as issues as such. I think these poems were prompted by real events for the most part. Things happened which affected me, which mattered to me, and I wanted to give a voice to those things and those people whom I'm speaking about in the book.
Yes. I mean, talk about some of the things that did provoke poems.
Tina Mine provoked poems for me. I grew up beside Tina Mine in County Galway, and it left a waste on the landscape. I was back there last summer with my family, and the place is total devastation. But I didn't write it from that point of view as if it were an issue. I looked for beauty there, and I found two beautiful things in Tina Mine. I found some kind of long prairie-type grass, which reminded me of prairie, and I found a lake, a little pool emerging, a pool of orange water, rusty water. So I found those two beauties and I wrote about those, but only to pinpoint, I suppose, the waste behind all that.
Yes. Again, you do write about small town Irish life and anecdotal pieces in terms of some of the characters that you know, some eccentric characters, some unusual, and also there are some sinister dimensions to it as well.
There are, Mike. I'd say my influences would be the unacknowledged poets of East Galway and elsewhere, if you like. I found from my own language and the language of the people there, certain people who have an ability with the one-liner or with the singular wit, and I liked to weave these things into my poems, fuse them with my own imagery, my own metaphors, because I really am, I suppose, a traditional believer in the old, good, well-formed poem. But I found that this language that my neighbours use was very effective, woven in with my own. There are, I suppose, eccentric people in my book, but I'd say we're all eccentric if we were examined, and maybe we don't appear so because nobody has looked closely enough. But there are also shrewd people, conservative people because of the land, and there are some devils and some angels as well.
Yes. Now, would you read Friends for us? That's on page 21 of your collection, and maybe like Noel did, would you lead us into it, because this is a little story in itself.
That's right. It's basically a story of a friendship which went wrong, and underlying the poem itself, without wanting to paraphrase the poem, underlying the poem itself is the idea that there was a pecking order. There is a pecking order. There is a social status, even in country places, which don't appear to have it. Friends. Me and PJ. PJ and me. Whichever way I put it sounded good. A score of years approximated to the size of us. Ran, raided, hurled, fought, all one. Slugged the altar wine behind Father Doran's back. Knocked the heads off tulips parading along by Teacher's Wall. Bathed in Dwyer's Spring, which half the village drew on for drinking. Adventured, friends far as mortality went. Until the May evening in Turan Little, when a tinker lad stood on the sideline watching us hurlers train. Get rid of him, our reffing mentor barked in my direction. I gaped at the watery eyes and nose, the snotted sleeve, the sawn-off Wellingtons banding black chafe marks across his spindly shanks, and changed my mind. PJ said I was chicken. Just watch this. He waded in with Hurley flailing, battered that tinker lad down. They're the same as animals, he shrugged, when someone chided him about doing the dirt. But I knew it'd never be PJ and me and PJ again. Not that I was better than him, merely the recognition of my own soft spot, open to the world's hurt.
Nice one. And there you are, there are issues, whether you like it or not. I know you say no, they're not.
Issues from experience though, Mike. Yeah.